Hello everyone, we're in Pirkei Avot, third parak, Mishnah 6. Here we go. So Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa ish kvar Chananya omer. Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa kvar Chananya says. So Asara shiyoshvin v'yoskim b'Torah, shchina shreya benhem, shene'emar, Elohim nitzav b'dat el. If 10 people sit together and engage in Torah study, the divine presence rests among them, as it is said, God stands in the assembly of God. Uminayin afilu chamisha. How do we know this even of 5? For it is said, he's established his bundle upon earth. Uminayin afilu shlosha. And how do we know this even of 3? For it is said, in the midst of judges he shall judge. Uminayin afilu shnayim. Shene'emar, az nitpehu yirei Adonai ish el re'eu ve'akshev Adonai ve'yishma. How do we know this even of 2? For it is said, then those who fear Hashem spoke to each other, and Hashem listened and heard. Uminayin afilu echad, shene'emar, bechol makom asher azkir et shmi, avo elecha uve'arachtecha. How do we know this even of 1? For it is said, in every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. Okay, so that's a pretty long Mishnah. And what is there to unpack here? In the interest of being completely honest, I looked at a number of commentaries, and it was very difficult for me to parse down a message that I both understood and thought would be interesting. This is obviously not to say that some of the commentaries are not interesting. I just was trying to figure out how can I relay an idea in an effective manner, and I'll admit that I struggled. I wish I could say that I'll have something to say every single time, but this one I did have some difficulties with. As a result, what we'll do is we'll actually just present some of the common comments that I saw that I did understand, and just point you to them if you'd like to elaborate upon them further. So Nachalat Avot, who's the Abarbanel, written by the Abarbanel, says like this. So first, it's important to realize that this Mishnah may have sounded similar to others, which we've definitely flagged before. In terms of earlier, we saw, this is in Mishnah 3. So Rabbi Chanina ben Teradion Omer, Shnayim shoshvin ve'en benem divrei Torah, harei ze moshav leitzim. Yes. And then Shnayim shoshvin ve'yesh benem divrei Torah, shchina shreya benhem, shenemar, אז נתברו יראה השם איש אל רעהו, ויקשב השם וישמע, וכתב ספר זיכרון לפניו, ליראה השם ולחוש וישמע. So that is the same pasuk that we see in our Mishnah. However, when we then see later on in this Mishnah, notice that in Mishnah 3, right, Parak 3, Mishnah 3, we see that Rabbi Chanina ben Teradion seems to understand that if there's only one person learning, he gets schar, but the Shekhinah is not necessarily dwelling amongst him. But in this Mishnah, Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa ish kvar Chananya omer, so he very clearly and explicitly states, no, the Shekhinah does dwell with a single person who is learning. So that's one comment to note. Again, there are commentaries on this. I just did not really fully understand it. I did not feel comfortable trying to state an idea that I don't understand for fear of terribly misquoting or to just straight up misunderstanding what was being said. So that's one observation. Another common observation, which is really very obvious, I remember it striking me, but I didn't know exactly where to find it in Pirkei Avot, is actually in the very first Masechta in all of Shas, in Brachot, first parak, in Daf Vav Amud Aleph, we actually see something almost extraordinarily similar to our Mishnah. It says like this. In 6a, about middle of the page, it begins like this. So Tanya Abba Binyamin Omer, En tefillah shel adam nishmat ela bebeit knesset. Right, a person's prayers are only heard in the Beit Knesset. Not commenting on that. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, lishmoa el achina ve'latfila b'makom reina. Sorry, lishmoa el achina ve'latfila b'makom reina sham tehetfila. Okay, moving on. Amar Ravin bar Rav Ada, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. So Ravin, the son of Rav Ada, says the name of Rabbi Yitzchak. Minayin shakadosh baruch hu matzui b'beit hakneset. How do we know that Kadosh Baruch Hu is in the synagogue? Shene'emar Elohim nitzav b'dat el. And from this, the Gemara takes off and says, Uminai la'asahah shemitpalalin sheshchina imahem How do we know that 10 people who pray together, that the Shekhinah is amongst them? Shenemach Elohim nitzav vadatel. That's our pasuk. And then it goes on. Uminayin lishlosha sheyoshvin bedin sheshchina imahem. How do we know that 3 people who are sitting together, that the Shekhinah is amongst them? Shenemach v'kerev Elohim yishpot. Our pasuk, which means, as a direct translation, just make sure I get this right. In the midst of judges, he, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shall judge. And then it goes on. And how do we know that the 2 people who are sitting and learning Torah, that the Shekhinah is amongst them? Right? So our pasuk. And then it goes on, skipping a little bit. And how do we know that even one person who sits and learns Torah, that the Shekhinah is amongst him? That is our pasuk. So many commentaries point out, like this, there's almost an exact, literally almost an exact parallel between that and our Mishnah. So what's the difference? So first, there is one obviously very noticeable difference. Our Mishnah presents a pasuk for 5 people who learn together, and that seems to be completely ignored by the Gemara. And there are commentaries offered for that. Again, I wish I could say I understood it. I did not, and therefore I do not feel comfortable expressing ideas about this. And I will note that our Mishnah in Pirkei Avot is talking about learning Torah. How do you know that 10 people who learn together, 10 people who learn together, 5 people who learn together, 3 who learn together, 2, 1, etc. Whereas the Gemara in Brachot talks about 10 people who pray together, 3 people who sit together in judgment, right? 3 dayanim. And to this, the Nachalat Avot says that it's very interesting to point out that according to the Gemara, we see that it requires 10 people praying to achieve what can be done with 3 people sitting in judgment, as in 3 dayanim, because you need to have 3 to make a beit din, right? 3 judges constitute a basic court of law in Jewish law, which is why in order to do hatarat nedarim, right, you'll generally always have 3 people sitting together in order to be matir the neder, to relinquish the oath. And so what Nachalat Avot says is based on the Gemara, not our Mishnah, but based on the Gemara, we see that 10 people praying in order to get the Shekhinah can be accomplished with only 3 people sitting in judgment, and that can, and further, 2 people sitting and learning Torah together, even that can bring down the Shekhinah. So this parallels them. I can really only leave it over here. I wish I could present some more comments. I'm sure there's a lot to say about this Mishnah, just above my pay grade. So we'll leave it over there, and we'll see you next time.